Hi, I'm Todd Peterson. I'm on the team here at One Identity, and today we're going to talk about how to get identity and access management right. So identity and access management is a lot of different things, and most people find that, some things they do well, other things they don't do so well, and it can be pretty difficult. So let's talk specifically about what identity and access management is. We like to break it into three categories. The first would be access management. That's the things you do to ensure that the people that work for you, or a partner, or a customer, or whomever, can get to the stuff they need to do their job. Some of the identity and access management technologies that play in access management are password reset, multi-factor authentication, managing Active Directory, web access management, single sign-on, all the stuff that just gets people to what they need to do their job. It's all important, and it's stuff that they all need to do. The second would be privileged access management, kind of along the same lines, but this is concerned with the administrators that work for you and the super powerful administrative access that they need to do their jobs. So some of the technologies that you may have or that you may have heard of for privileged access management would be a password vault, session audit, delegation tools, particularly like for root delegation or Active Directory admin delegation, even things like behavior analytics and identity analytics to find areas of risk within privileged access management. And then finally is governance. That's kind of the umbrella that goes over the top of everything and make sure that you're doing access management and privileged access management correctly. Some of the tasks that fall under the governance umbrella would be provisioning, self-service request and fulfillment, attestations, all the things that you do to set up that access, whether it's for an administrator, whether it's for an end user, whether it's to applications, whether it's to unstructured data, whatever. So three things make up identity and access management: access management, privileged access management, and governance. But why is it so hard? First off is change. Most of us are in a situation where we've gone from all we need to do is comply to now we're innovating. Now we're doing things like a digital transformation. And we're trying to get to somewhere that is better and more than where we've been in the past. So the traditional way that people have addressed these challenges from an identity and access management standpoint is they've implemented first manual processes. You do things, you build some scripts, you put some process in place to set up somebody's access, to give them the authentication they need, to manage the privileged users or whatever. Then you go to native tools. You obviously have Active Directory. You use the Active Directory native tools to set up your users there, and then you got Azure Active Directory added to the mix, and that messes things up more. So now you go out and you find a solution to solve whatever your problem of the day is. Maybe it's a privileged account management problem, so you're going to solve that problem. And then next you have a problem with remote users authenticating, so you're going to solve that problem. So you end up solving problems with point solutions once you've decided the native tools and the manual processes don't work. But that's incomplete. And you end up with a lot of complexity. As you're going through this digital transformation, you're ending up with more and more stuff that has the same things that have to happen to them. People need to authenticate. They need to be authorized. You need to audit it. You need to administer all of that stuff. But it becomes more and more complex. The more point solutions you have, the more different systems you have. When you add cloud stuff, then it becomes more complex. And finally, it's so hard because the status quo is still there. You've got the old tools. You've got the old processes. You've got the old expectations that are kind of weighing down your desire to improve and to get better. So why do we do all this stuff? First and foremost, it's to bolster security, because we need to be secure, and identity and access management is on the front lines of security. Second is to reduce risk. You want to make sure that you're not the next breach headline, that you're not going to fail an audit, etc. You want to achieve compliance. Every regulation requires you to do some sort of identity and access management, whether it's access control, whether it's separation of duties, or whether it's audit, and they all require all three of those. And finally, the whole point is you have something that you're in business to achieve. Identity and access management, security, compliance is all meant to help you achieve your organizational objective. It's not to get in the way, but we find that it often does. It doesn't have to be that way, though. Let's talk about how you can actually get identity and access management right. So first off, let's define what right is. Right should be unified. You do something once and it happens everywhere. You don't have to repeat effort. You don't have to use separate tools. The line of business should be in charge, meaning that you've got, rather than IT has to do everything, you have the people who know why doing it as opposed to just the people that know how. The line of business, the ones who really have the most at stake for it going wrong, are the ones who should make the decisions. You're going to have happy users because they can get to the things they need to do their jobs. They don't have to jump through hoops. They don't have to, be obstructed from doing what they're been hired to do because security's getting in the way. Security's innate. Everything is automatically in a stance of being secure as opposed to having security imposed on it. Everything is automated. You remove as much IT intervention, as much manual processes, and as much repetition as possible. And finally, that allows you to achieve a state of governance, which is your ability to prove that you're doing everything right. So, how does that look then? So you still have the same things. You're still dealing with compliance, you're still dealing with innovation, you're still dealing with your digital transformation. But if you can approach it from a security, automation, and governance standpoint, kind of as an umbrella on top of those things, then your risk, your cost, and your inefficiency has gone away. So those things go down while your ability to reach your objectives goes up. So the result is costs are under control. Everything is happening, less expensively with less effort. You have an optimized user and IT experience. The IT department doesn't have to do everything. The users don't have to view IT as the enemy, as the barrier to them doing their job, and everything happens more efficiently. Risk is dramatically reduced because you know things are done right, therefore your risk is minimized, and it's much, much easier to satisfy compliance because when there's no risk, when everything is optimized, when users are happy, compliance is, kind of the natural byproduct of that. So we here at One Identity feel that we are the only organization poised to help you get identity and access management right, whatever that means for you. So remember, we talked about you have governance, you have access management, and you have privileged access management. And most people have that happening in an on-prem environment and a cloud environment, which means they're in a hybrid state for quite a while. You want to make sure that everything you're doing in identity and access management is actually happening for your full hybrid environment. One Identity is the only vendor poised to help you across all three of those disciplines in your hybrid environment. So how do we do that? First and foremost, everything we do is designed as a path towards governance. We try to help you get from this operational, I'm just trying to get something done state, to this governed state of I'm actually doing things the right way. Every IAM tool that we have is designed to help you towards that governed state, not just to accomplish whatever your problem of the day is. Second, everything is future ready. The things that you're doing today are much different from what you were doing 2 years ago or 5 years ago. You want to make sure that the solutions you put in place for access management, privileged access management, and governance will solve your problems today, but will also solve whatever problems you have in the future, even though you may not know what they are. So you want to make sure that your solution is future ready. You want it to be business centric. Again, remember I mentioned that putting IT in charge is a recipe for not success. But if the business is in charge, if they're the ones making the decisions, if they're the ones that can control these things, then we can know that everything's done right. It's much easier to achieve that governance state I talked about. And then you want modular and integrated. You don't want to implement identity and access management as one giant thing that you do. That's just impossible. It's too expensive and it's too rigid and doesn't change. So you want to solve today's problem today, and then whatever tomorrow's problem is, you want to be able to add on to that. So with One Identity, you can start where you need to start and build from there with us or even without us if you choose. But the whole point is that all of those things are helping you to reach your successful outcomes. So only through One Identity and our complete modular and integrated approach with solutions that are business-centric, designed to help you get to that governed state and achieve your successful outcomes is the way to help you get identity and access management right. If you want to learn more of how we can help you get identity and access management right, I invite you to visit us on the web at oneidentity.com/right. Thanks a lot.